Recording in progress.
$7:00, Your Worship.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll bring this regular council meeting to order, Monday, October the 17th at 7 p.m. And to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Stahelis. Next order of business, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll move on to number 2. Do you have any late items?
I have no late items.
Thank you. Could I have approval of the agenda then, please?
By Councillor Piper, second by Councillor Vidal. Call the question. All in favor? Nobody opposed? Thank you. Move on, please.
Thank you. We'll move on to number 4, adoption of council minutes. We have the regular council meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2022 here for adoption.
Do we have a move by Councillor Palmer, second by Councillor Piper? Any errors or omissions? Call the question. All in favor? Nobody opposed? Thank you. Next order of business.
Yes, Your Worship. We have no other items on the agenda until we get to number 10, reports of councillors, committees, committee of the whole, and commissions.
Councillor Hooper.
Good evening, all. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got no report this evening. I've ended all my committees that I've been on, and I look forward to starting new committees up in hope in the new year. Thank you.
Good councillor. Councillor Palmer.
I also have had no committee meetings since the last meeting, so I have nothing to report.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Piper.
Thank you, Worship. On October 5th, I attended the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting at Mountain Institution in honor of September 30th, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. In collaboration with staff and inmates, a compilation of stories, poems, and works of art represent the history, journeys, and experiences of those within Mountain Institution. The words and drawings that were bound into this booklet. Every inmate at Mountain also received a copy of the booklet on September 9th to review. Over 300 copies were created and distributed to neighboring Indigenous communities and our local library. Also, inmates created a small orange shirt from recycled materials and distributed to inmates within the institution to wear on September 30th. The CAC was honored with the presentation of both the Natamasay booklet and the small orange shirt. On October 6th, I attended the Lettsmont Community to Community meeting, which was hosted this time by Stahelis. On October 11th, I attended the Harrison Agassiz Chamber of Commerce meeting. The AGM is set for November 16th and will be held this year at the Fraser River Lodge. More information will be available on the Chamber's website very soon. Community Futures North, Fraser has a new coordinator coming to our area and will be facilitating funding for disaster recovery in British Columbia. Available is up to 10 hours per entrepreneur, free help for business for a variety of topics, plus up to $5,000 per business in free training if needed for the owner of the business. Previously, this was for employees only, so it's a nice change. If this is something that sounds like it would help your business out, please get in touch with Community Futures directly. And lastly, on October 12th, they attended the Season of the Wild kickoff for the Harrison River Valley Tourism Harrison. The Season of the Wild is a celebration of the salmon, eagles, and sturgeon. The speakers present were extremely knowledgeable and passionate of their areas and expertise. And now hopefully all we need is the rivers to rise a bit for the salmon and sturgeon and bring the eagles back to feast. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Vital.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one item to report this evening as indicated by Councillor Piper. I also attended the Letsamont C2C Forum on October the 6th, and it was hosted by Stahalis. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Next order of business, please.
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to number 11, reports from the mayor.
Thank you. It was just a brief meeting at the Fraser Valley Regional District on October the 13th, and nothing much to report from there, but they did include their quarterly update on what's going on in the electoral areas. And one of the areas that I think of note here is that the animal control has purchased a new fleet of vehicles being fitted with kennels. A total of 111 dogs were impounded this quarter. We're happy to report that the 8 puppies born at the care center in the spring were all successfully adopted along with their mother. And the court hearing for dangerous dog was deferred for a second time and is now scheduled for October. The Hope Area Recreation Center, the Club Child Summer Day program returned after a 2-year break due to COVID, so that's good. The Alma Carson Outdoor Pool in North Bend offered summer school swimming lessons this year. And the Dan Sharers Aquatic Center reopened after the annual shutdown as they were short of lifeguards, but now they are recruiting again. So that's a good thing for that area. Fire services attended 328 calls this quarter. Those calls, 120 were for fires, 122 from medical emergencies. Okay. This is my last meeting this is my last, see better through the top here. This is my last meeting as the mayor of this community. I must say it's been a real pleasure serving the community for 4 terms as mayor and over 20 years on council. I first joined in '93. It's been years of learning and 4 good councils over those years who have worked hard for their communities, and many things have been achieved, as it's obviously visible from the village what it was back 20 years ago to what it is now, with the improvements to all our infrastructure services. We're not short of water here, that's for sure. And of course, all the safety issues that have been put in place along the beaches, all the improvements to the beaches and all the sidewalks and everything else, all due through the RMI program, most of it. And of course, the important thing, extending the water lines to 104 homes in the village, which benefited them tremendously. Overall, the village is in a very good financial position. I have to thank our previous manager of financial services and our present manager of financial services for maintaining a good book. As you may remember, last year we did receive a credited award for our financial services in the village. And it's good to receive those things, which shows that things are being carried out correctly. Overall, this year's or 2021's annual report put in a lot of areas that the village carried out, from the infrastructure to transportation. Of course, that's been improved a lot with the the bus service over the years, and now, of course, our installation of the bus shelters, and the new one is now on Hot Springs Road. There's a tremendous help for the residents. Our new fire truck should be here. Yes, next year, I believe. Yes, it's on its way. It's on its way. The new fire truck will be here next year for services. The fire department is receiving a seismic upgrade and a changing room for those boys and girls to have a decent place to change. And overall, it's the village is in great shape. I would like to personally thank councillors Piper, Hooper and Palmer for their 8 years for Councillor Piper service to the community. They've all served the community very well and carried out their duties in a responsible manner. And it's gratifying to the mayor when you have a good team and work together for the community. The whole idea of a democratic process is to have your say and to have your opinions and still be able to treat people respectfully afterwards. And we've done that, and I'm very happy about that. I congratulate Councillor elect Vidal for council again, and I'd like to welcome our mayor-elect, Mr. Wood, here this evening, who's sitting with us here this evening. So that takes care of that from my perspective. Thank you, everybody, for all the residents and the businesses in the community that have supported me and council over all these years. And I will be returning, as you know, and we will continue to improve our community to the best that we can. Thank you very much. Next order of business, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. We'll move on to number 12, reports from staff. The first report we have is from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding Regional Fire Training Facility.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Worship, through you to the rest of council, a short report here just to advise that there is funding available through UBCM's Volunteer and Composite Fire Department Training and Equipment Program, which is part of the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, which has been going on for some years now. And one of the stated goals of the program is to allow fire departments to train to provincially required standards. So with this in mind, the District of Kent is interested in applying for one of these grants in order to develop a regional fire training facility at the Agassiz Fire Hall, and they are asking for our support. So the recommendation before you here is that the Village of Harrison Hot Springs support the District of Kent's application to the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for a grant in support of the development of a regional fire training facility at the Agassiz Fire Hall site.
So thank you. We have recommended moved by Councillor Piper, second by Councillor Palmer. Discussion. Councillor Vidal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to our CAO, just a little bit of clarification, please. Am I right in assuming that the support the District of Kent is looking for is in the form of a letter that would accompany the grant application? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, thank you very much.
Any other comments from council? Call the question. All in favor? Nobody opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Next order of business.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. There are no bylaws on the agenda this evening, so we'll move on to number 14, new business. Is there any new business?
Yes, there is. Councillor Piper wishes to bring up the business of the electoral boundaries. Councillor Piper.
Thank you, Worship. As you may be aware, the BC Electoral Boundary Commission recently issued a preliminary report recommending changes to the provincial electoral boundaries. Unfortunately, the report recommends that both Harrison and Agassiz be severed from the current Chilliwack-Kent riding and attached to the Fraser-Nicola riding, which includes Hope Merritt, Cache Creek, and Clinton. Obviously, this would mean a loss of political representation for our residents because the village has a long-standing political, economic, educational, health, and community connections to the riding of Chilliwack-Kent. connections which do not exist for us within the Fraser-Nicola region. We are also connected to the FERD, both politically and through the various services we receive from them. The village is also a longtime participant in the Lettsmont Community to Community Forum, which would be split up between different political ridings, and the Stayalist territory in particular would be split apart. I'm encouraging our community to voice their concerns through an online or written submission at the bcebc.ca. However, I've also spoken with Mayor Facio, and I understand that Stayalist leadership is equally concerned about this proposal and that they plan to attend the upcoming public hearing in Langley on November 2nd to express their opposition. I think we should be there too. And if council agrees, I would like to attend to register our opposition to the proposed change. And so I've drafted a motion for council's consideration. I move that the village send representation to the BC Electoral Boundaries Commission public hearing to be held on November 2nd, 2022 in Langley, BC, to register opposition to the proposed new boundaries for the Chilliwack, Kent, and Fraser-Nicola provincial electoral ridings.
Thank you, councillor. And do you wish, I'll make a motion that councillor Piper represents the village with, I believe our CAO is going to, staff will be represented as well. They're going as well. And like councillor Piper said, I spoke with Chief Ralph Leon this morning, and they're going to have quite a representative going from Stahelis as well to lobby this, I don't know, mind-boggling, trying to change the electoral areas for the district of Kent and for Harrison Hot Springs. So is there a seconder for that? Seconded by councillor Vidal. A discussion. Councillor Palmer and councillor Vidal.
Obviously, it seems like a bad fit. Obviously, someone is trying to work out with numbers and with figuring out where people move in terms of a constituency without really looking at the issues of the connection. The only thing I would say is that when Councillor Piper read the motion, it didn't say exactly what I thought it might. I thought it was going to be that we send a submission and representation, because I do think a written submission also would be appropriate. So if Councillor Piper would accept that as a friendly amendment to stick in the words submission, a written submission, and that would be my hope. Otherwise, I'll try it as an amendment. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to Councillor Piper. I'm assuming that the meeting on November 2nd, is it open to anybody who wishes to attend?
Your worship, I can offer some clarification on that. It is a public hearing, and the commission is requesting that interested parties notify them through email of their intention to attend, but I believe it's otherwise open.
Thank you. And perhaps either Councillor Piper or CAO can answer this one also. If people are not going to attend a public meeting, up to what date are you aware where they could submit their submissions prior to that date?
Yes, your worship, I believe the deadline for electronic submissions is November 22nd. And all of that information is available on the BC Electoral Reform Commission website.
Wonderful, thank you.
You, councillor Piper.
Thank you, worship. I just want to clarify, if the public also wants to voice their concern, they can do it by either written or an online submission. And I'll say the website again, it's cebc.ca.
Any further discussion from councillors on this? None being, I call the question. All in favour? Opposed? Is that opposed, councillor Hooper? Opposed by councillor Hooper, motion passes. Thank you. Good business.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll move on to number 15, questions from the public pertaining to agenda items only. Excuse me, we'll ask those attending by Zoom to raise your hand if you wish to comment.
Any attendants participating on Zoom, if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand feature. There are no questions, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anybody from the audience who wish to ask pertaining to the agenda, please, a question? Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor, John Allen, 398 Hot Springs Road. Just for clarification, we had a resolution proposed by Councillor Piper, which she read out, and then you made a resolution. Which resolution did you just pass, hers or yours?
No, I didn't make a resolution. I made the motion.
Oh, but that is exactly the same thing.
No, I made the motion to put it on the floor and we had a seconder, which is councillor Vital.
Oh, you made a motion for her resolution.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Second question is, the regional fire training up until now has been handled by Chilliwack Fire Department in Chilliwack. And I'm wondering why we need to duplicate that in Agassiz. Is there a lack of capacity or is that one shutting down? Or who are the clients who will be trained in this proposed new facility? Is it just the municipalities? Or is it the regional districts? Does it include the reserves? And I'm just looking for a little rationale for this when we seem to have that already with the Chilliwack Fire Department and the Justice Institute providing the training. Why do we need one in Agassiz?
Yes, Your Worship. This actually was introduced at a Let's Mo C2C meeting. Can you hear me? And the mayor was not in attendance, so I'm happy to speak to this. This was brought forward by the Agassiz Fire Chief. And the rationale behind it was to provide for enhanced opportunity for joint training between those departments that have mutual aid agreements amongst one another. So that is the departments within the region. So it doesn't preclude still training in other places such as the Justice Institute or the city of Chilliwack, but it would provide for some more fundamental training within the region wherein the departments that are expected to work together on a mutual aid basis can undertake more training together.
So what you're really talking about is the communities on the North Shore then? Agassiz, Harrison, Reserves, Regional District.
And POPCOM also, it was invited to attend and the regional director for that area was at this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public this evening? Yes, ma'am. I can hear you, Marg. Do we have any comments from the corporate officer on that?
Through you, Your Worship, if anyone was to make an application, that would certainly be going to the fire chief.
We don't allow fireworks in the community. Only if an application is made like Canada Day, that sort of thing, but that has to go through the fire department first. So fireworks are not allowed in the village. Well, of course, we have I believe there's a policy. Yeah. So we have a bylaw. We have a bylaw which bans fireworks unless an application is made for special events. No, the bylaw does not allow you to have fireworks. Yeah, and I believe Halloween, that area, our fire department is quite vigilant on those evenings. Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't want no fireworks, that's for sure. Thank you. Ma'am. Yes, you're the financial officer.
I'll put this to the finance
Okay.
officer in just a moment, but given that our finance officer joined us in 2022, I can give you a bit of background on this. That there was no borrowing involved in the purchase of the fire truck, and there'll be no tax increase based on the receipt of the fire truck. It is paid for. There was considerable planning went into the building of the reserves to enable the purchase of that truck, and the fire department was very diligent about staying within their budget. So we're really looking forward to taking delivery, which could be before the end of the year. And if the finance officer has anything to add, Scott?
Yeah, I'll just touch on your question about the payments on the unit. So we did have to put a down payment down. It's not fully paid for yet. But as our CAO said, it is expected to ship either before the end of the year or just early in the new year.
Well, your worship, because it wasn't an agenda item tonight, we don't have that information with us, but we could easily provide that for you. It's been publicly reported several times. Just contact the office.
Any further questions from the public this evening?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, John Allen, 398 Hot Springs Road. I share Mark Bowman's concern about fire hazard presented by fireworks on Halloween. And it's all right having a bylaw, but people don't care about the bylaw unless it's enforced. Will the village call out and have bylaw enforcement officers throughout the village doing something to discourage the use of fireworks and to enforce the bylaw that currently exists? Because if you don't do that, you're really doing nothing to reduce the risk.
Any other comments from the public, please?
Sorry, that was a question.
Yes, your comments have been noted. Thank you.
No answer?
Yes, your comments have been noted. It would be further reviewed with our fire department. Thank you. Sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Your Honor. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but when you made your comments at the end of your report, thanking the councillors, it comes from the body itself. And I think tonight is a good time to know that 3 of those sitting at the table tonight are not going to be on the council taking over. But I think it would be, and I don't pretend to speak for everybody, but I'll speak for myself, and I think a lot of people do agree with me that it's not an easy job being councillors, even in a small village. In fact, it may be more difficult in a small village than a big city. But I think that everybody owes all of you councillors a debt of gratitude for the work you put into looking after the affairs of our village on behalf of the citizens. And as I said, I can't speak for them all, but I speak for myself that I appreciate the effort you put in. We're in a situation where everybody may not agree with every decision that's made, but we have to have an adult, common sense ability to work out a compromise or to deal with differing opinion. I think you realize, and of course the mood across the province has been a sort of a rumbling for change. And that kind of change needs definition, but I think it's similar across the whole province, that the kind of changes that people that you represent, the citizens, want to have a voice and want to be heard and want to be considered when major decisions are made. So with that, I thank you all. I welcome the incoming councillors and I wish you well in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Master, for your comments. Any other comments from the public? Thank you. Call for adjournment, moved by Councillor Palmer, second by Councillor Piper. All in favor? Thank you. Thank everybody for coming this evening.